Welcome back to Short Time with Vin and Dave. Vin Ebenau, Dave Crossa with you. Joining us here this hour, this show, Dr. Carol Penn from the Red Bank-based Lunch Break nonprofit, talking about all the different services that they offer to the Red Bank and Monmouth County community and have been over the years. And Dave, this week is their 40th anniversary.
Very nice.
Of serving this Red Bank and Monmouth County community and everything. We're going to help tell their short story and share their story as well. And to help do that, Dr. Carol Penn, welcome onto the show.
Thank you so much for having me. This is exciting for me to share the lunch break story and spread a good word.
We're excited to have you on this morning. Thank you.
Yeah, and happy anniversary to everybody at Lunch Break. Big week.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. 40 years. Wow, it's a lifetime.
So time flies when you're having fun,
Exactly.
Yes.
So how have you seen, before we talk, I guess, about the lineage and everything, Dr. Penn, tell us a little bit about Lunch Break for those in the Jersey Shore community who would like to know more. So what does Lunch Break do for Red Bank and for Monmouth County?
Oh, my goodness. Well, Lunch Break really it's the heartbeat of Monmouth and Ocean County, the community. It looks out for people who, maybe they're going through a rough time. Maybe, they can't quite make ends meet. Maybe there's some struggles with job or underemployment or health insurance or underinsurance, and it's difficult to make that paycheck reach for the month. They have more month than they have money. Maybe it's for people who don't have any resources at all. And Lunch Break says that human life has value and dignity. And part of having value and dignity means you need to have a good meal in your belly. You need to have a safe and secure place to sleep at night. You need to have a decent suit to go for that job interview. You need to have life skills to cultivate the ability to stand out in an interview, to really kind of, polish that unpolished diamond that you are, so you can stand out in the world and you can participate as a citizen in our community that is making contributions. So we have a number of programs that supply all of that and more to a person. And we really believe in centering the divinity of the human being so that you feel proud of yourself. You feel like you can contribute. It originally started where, look, there were hungry people in the community, so let's make sure that everybody gets a meal. And that has been the core of what Lunch Break has done for these 40 years. But then beyond having the one or two hot meals a day, guess what? You need to be able to participate, to feel like you belong in a community. So what are those other pieces where you need to feel like you belong in a community? As a woman, we have a wonderful women's group called Women's Worth. And maybe you've come out of a difficult relationship. You've come out of feeling very low self-esteem. Do you need to have an opportunity to build your personal development, your self-esteem? So we have a program that addresses that. As a young person, what skills do you need? Do you need to know how to belong in community? So we've had cooking classes, we've had arts classes, we have programs for children from elementary school through high school. As a person who maybe you're down on your luck and you haven't been employed for a while, and you need to get back out in the job market. So we have a life skills program to help you do just that. Find out what are the ways in which you can contribute. And we have coaches that will coach you into your fullness and your richness. That's our life skills. And give you very practical skills in terms of how to go on an interview, how to create your resume, how to create a budget for yourself and your family. We have Clara's Closet because now that you've gotten these wonderful skills, well, you need to look sharp for the interview. So that's a part of it, your appearance, and you need to feel good and confident. So you can come and you can have clothing that is appropriate to match your skill and to make you feel confident in that interview. So it really has become a 360-degree program that encompasses what it means to be a contributing, participating member of society with a sense of belonging to that community.
That's great. It's very well-rounded. You're more than just, somewhere for a hot lunch or a meal or the food pantry, but trying to help somebody become well-rounded, job services and so much more, building up a resume, Dave. I think it's great to provide those life skills.
Well, I think what's so important, and thank you for all that, you don't do much there, do you? I tell you what, my goodness, that's fantastic, because not only are you helping somebody temporarily, something's going on, but you're also building up their confidence, giving them a path, giving coaching for them to get to the other side, and that is so important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And lately we've even taken on the housing crisis because it is also so important to have a safe, secure place for yourself and your family. If you are a person that is on medications, well, you need to have a safe place where you can put your medications. Some medications require refrigeration, so you need to be in a place that has a reliable source of electricity so that your medications can be refrigerated and they're safe for you to take. So, all of this is so fundamental to be a person who is participating fully in society and participating fully in a community. So lunch break really looks where there is a need, and we see how can we fill the gap. How can we span the void and make sure, again, that every person, every guest that comes through our front doors feels and experiences their human dignity, and they come to understand their value and their worth, and that they can contribute even when life has been very unkind.
We're talking with Dr. Carol Penn, board member with the Red Bank-based nonprofit Lunch Break. Dr. Penn, I mean, certainly whether it was from the pandemic or everything that's happened afterwards in terms of the state of the economy in New Jersey, what have been some of the challenges for Lunch Break in terms of the food pantry itself, from any delivery issues or any of the services that Lunch Break provides? How have you met some of those challenges and endured to help out all these individuals and families?
I am so proud to say that we didn't miss a meal.
That's fantastic.
We kept going. It was fantastic. We kept going through the pandemic. We have an excellent executive director and leader, and Miss Gwen Love, and she pivoted. She inspired the board to pivot. This is what's happening. What do we need to do? What do we need to know? How do we keep our guests safe? How do we keep our volunteers safe? How do we keep our staff safe? And most importantly, how do we keep providing services to people in our community? So when we could go online, we went online. We had volunteers that actually raised funds and contributed laptops and desktops and iPads to different of our members so that their kids could go to school online so they wouldn't feel isolated and disconnected. We created safety protocols where people could still come in and get their food, and the way we packaged them, and making sure that we were, handing these meals out well packaged and people could grab and go. And while we certainly missed the community that we provide where people could come in, sit down, and have a meal, somehow our volunteers were out there rain and shine, either making
so
home
great.
deliveries, or as people were coming up to the building itself, they were still extending that greeting and that warmth and that love that says, you're important. We're so glad you're here. And what do you need for us to support you? Here's your meal. Here's your food. And we just kept it going. Same thing, with the board. I'm so proud of this board. We all pivoted. We all went to, it's like, I think with Zoom, the virtual world is you're on mute.
Yep.
That's true.
We've all been there.
Yes.
As we tried to learn how to, conduct business and conduct
Correct.
meetings and virtual reality. Same thing reminding, put your headphones on, here comes the dogs and the cats
Of course.
and the kids and the partners.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Even we started our nutrition program and committee during the pandemic, where we're really spearheading the idea that we want everyone to have the highest quality food, and again, educating the community, educating our donors and whatnot, that we need to understand that we want to contribute to the continuum of health. And so we want to give the highest quality of food. And that sometimes means that, maybe we're not going to accept the food that's packaged with the high fructose corn syrup, because we don't want to be contributing to chronic illness. So, we really took on the food as medicine and took on this whole health initiative during the heart of the pandemic, and educating, again, our guests, our staff, our volunteers, our board of trustees, because we feel that in going through the pandemic, there was also an opportunity in this crisis. And this opportunity that occurred in this crisis was to look at everything that we were doing, every program that we were delivering, and also to look at, what was going on with the food that we were serving. Because again, we saw the chronicity of illness increase, not just COVID-19, but everything got worse. Heart disease got worse, diabetes got worse, cancer got worse. So was there something else that we could do to take what we were doing to a higher level, to make sure that we were contributing to the solution and not contributing to the challenge or the problem? So we took that on in the pandemic, and it's an ongoing process, quite an educational process, and it's wonderful to see people's lives transforming, to see people's cholesterol levels lowering, to see people's blood sugar levels lowering. And we took it on globally. So, this is important for all of us, right?
Absolutely.
Without a doubt. I think that's so important. The education, the proper food, and especially during the pandemic, the healthier you are with what was going on, and just moving forward, take the time, educate, and eat the right foods will definitely help.
Yes, and also, build up the immune system. I mean, who wants to, fall victim to COVID or anything, the flu or any other type of virus that's out there, and a way to prevent getting sick in the first place was one of our best defenses. And one of the most powerful ways to do that is to build up your immune system. And one of the most powerful ways to build up your immune system is through your relationship with food. What are you consuming? What are you putting into your body?
Good points. Dr. Penn, want to discuss more about lunch break. We have to head to a quick break. Can you stay with us?
I certainly can. Would love to.
There we go.
Awesome.
I like the enthusiasm.
Yeah, definitely.
More Short Time with Vin and Dave and Dr. Carol Penn from the Red Bank-based nonprofit Lunch Break right after this on 94.3 The Point.
Hi, this is Christy Pierce-Rampone, former U.S. women's soccer team captain, Olympic gold medalist, World Cup champion and Point Borough High School alum. And you're listening to Short Time with Vin and Dave on 94.3 The Point. Tune in for some real conversation with Dave and Vin. You don't want to miss this.
Whether you're in the early stages of investing, getting ready to retire, or planning your estate, you need a financial planner who will guide you on a clear path with honesty and transparency. Shoreline Wealth Management understands that you are more than your money, and they strive to help you realize your best life as they align your finances with your goals. Best of all, Shoreline's straightforward approach will include you in the process. Shoreline Wealth Management is your financial anchor. Visit shorelinewealth.com for more information. Shorelinewealth.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC.
Hey, this is UFC Championship fighter and Toms River High School East alumni Frankie Edgar, and you're listening to Short Time with Vin and Dave on 94.3 The Point. Dave and Vin, these guys are the buzz.
Welcome back to Short Time with Vin and Dave. Vin Ebenau, Dave Crossa with you. With us here this morning is Dr. Carol Penn, a board member with the Red Bank-based nonprofit Lunch Break. We've been talking about all the great services that they do, how they've met some of the challenges over the last couple of years, economic-related or health-related, and so much more. They're celebrating their 40th anniversary, 40th birthday this week of existence, 40 years of helping so many people across Red Bank and Monmouth County and beyond. Dr. Penn, I want to start this part of our conversation, this segment here, talking about some of the history of Lunch Break that dates back to 1983 when everything first started with Norma Todd and some of the founding members. But you have a story that sort of predates how everything began in 1983. So what can you tell us about how Lunch Break began and how it's changed over the years?
Well, yes, I love telling this story, and that this story is a part of my history. I'm a proud fourth-generation Red Banker, and the founder of Lunch Break, Norma Todd, and her husband, James Todd, and my parents were very, very close friends.
Oh, wow.
So I grew up knowing Norma Todd, and oh my goodness, she's always been this dynamo and such a person with far-reaching vision. And so her husband, James Todd, was the 11th African-American to be appointed to the United States Diplomatic Corps. And he had posts all over the world. And whenever they were fairly close to the United States, that was an opportunity to go visit them. So they were in Barbados. And this was back in 1972. And Aunt Norma is talking about one day that, Mr. Todd, Uncle Jimmy, as I used to call him, would retire. And they would retire. And her dream was to retire to the community of Red Bank, New Jersey. And while they had been on many what would be referred to as hardship posts around the world, Aunt Norma was always involved with the Girl Guides, and she was always very interested in making sure that issues around hunger and food insecurity were addressed. That was kind of her passion and her mission while she was traveling and on these different posts. And she said, but you know what? I know there are people in my home community of Red Bank, New Jersey, that are hungry, that are struggling. And even though we live there where there's so much seeming abundance, there are still people that are kind of living in the shadow, and they need to eat too. And I want to make sure that those people are fed, that they aren't struggling, that they aren't living through food insecurity. So even, back then she had a sense of this. And sure enough, when about 10 years later, when Uncle Jimmy said, it's time for me to come out. It's time for me to retire. Aunt Norma, true to her word, said, yep, and we are going back to Philadelphia. To Red Bank. See, he was from Philadelphia. He always said, nope, we are retiring to Red Bank. We are not going to Philadelphia.
Nice.
There you go. Putting the foot down.
Yes.
There you go. And because what she had given up her life to be with him as he,
right.
Traveled the world. And she's like, no, my retirement is in Red Bank. You've done your career and it's been throughout the world. It's fabulous, but no, we're going to do this. And so and I never forgot that. Her passion and her determination, and that she could see the need, and that she wasn't afraid of rising up to this challenge and making a way out of nowhere. I had really not been aware of someone creating anything like this from the ground up. And she was so focused and so determined. And when she came back, she was a member of the St. Thomas Episcopal Church in Red Bank, and that's exactly where she started. They had a professional commercial kitchen
Oh,
at
wow.
the church, and she went to the reverend and shared her dream and her vision, and she said, Father, there are people in this community that are hungry, and I'm going to feed them. And some people were like, well, how do you? She says, I know, I grew up here. I'm from here. And I know these people have not had the opportunities and the advantages. And these are good people. And they shouldn't have to be hungry. They shouldn't have to feel ashamed. And once more, it's not going to be treated like, they're giving a handout. They're going to be my guest, and they'll be our guest. Will you help me? And so right from the beginning, it was this attitude of grace, and that I'm not helping you because I see myself better than you or above you. I'm helping you because I am you, because you are a part of the interconnected web of humanity, and there is dignity, worth, and value in every human life.
I love that.
That is fantastic.
And that's how Lunch Break began. And she invited other people, like-minded people, who also saw the value and dignity in every human life, no matter how it was appearing and how it was manifesting and how, challenged a person might be. She invited people who felt like, no, this is a human being, and as a human being, there's divinity in this human being, and I am addressing that divinity. I am calling that out. I am lifting that up. And this person deserves to be whole and healed and healthy and have an opportunity to contribute and participate in society because they have value, worth, and dignity, and they have a contribution to make. And that was it. That
Wow.
was it. And she says, so right from the beginning, other people, and regardless of their station in life, if that's what they felt about other human beings, that's who she wanted to work with. And she's cultivated that. And that has been carried on and passed down to everyone who gets involved with Lunch Break. So I know for me, as a person who has volunteered with Lunch Break, and now as a person who has the privilege of serving on the board of trustees, I feel that my life has been poured into and filled up far more than anything that I might have given in my service to the community through Lunch Break. And I think if you were to speak to other board members, that would resonate. You would find that with other board members and other volunteers, we get so much more than we give by participating in this community.
That's great. And I love how just the storied history, people helping people in their own community in Red Bank and Monmouth County. Just, hey, what do you need? What can I do to help out? And Dr. Penn, there's been so many volunteers over the years that have helped in the efforts of Lunch Break as well. How have those volunteers made a difference? And even now, moving forward over the next few weeks and months and years, how can people get involved in Red Bank and from Monmouth County to help you and everybody with Lunch Break in the community? How can they get involved with volunteering or helping out or donating
Donations,
anything?
right.
Absolutely. Please, all the information is there on our website, lunchbreak.org. You can see how to volunteer. You can see what is needed and what to give and when to give. Again, we're always happy for contributions from, Clara's Closet to contributing ideas to help support our programs. No donation is too small. So if you have $1 to give $1. If you've got $1 million to give, get the $1 million.
There you go. Well, you're
That's right. That's right.
you are. Am I correct in saying a 501c3 organization?
Yes, we are. We are a 501c3 organization, very, very transparent in terms of our financials and the history of the funds being used appropriately and used as designated.
Well, the reason I wanted to bring that up for people that want to maybe donate money that, are looking for a tax break, because obviously there, with a 501c3, there may be some tax advantages. And again, I'm not saying that's the only reason for doing it, but for somebody who does give money to different organizations, here's a nice opportunity to help their situation as well as help the good work that you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and I say there's really something for everybody. Some people do want to come down because, and physically and contribute by actually being there. And, other people, they want to do it, but they're working full time. They have, other purposes and mission with their time. But that doesn't mean that they don't want to see something like this alive in the world.
Right.
So there is no contribution that we will turn away. No financial contribution too small. No donation of your time.
There you go.
Small. So, please, again, it's part of that interconnected web. We all have value, worth, and dignity. And this is a way to bring it together. And I really think lunch break should be an international model in terms of how people can work together, coming together through this sense of purpose, and how people from different political backgrounds, social backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds, all of it can really be alive in the world in a way that makes the world a better place. And it makes me proud of being a part of a community that offers this. And that it's a community that I want to grow old in. And it's creating a world that I want to leave to my children and my grandchildren and their grandchildren. And I think that lunch break models this not only for Monmouth and Ocean County in New Jersey, but it models it for the United States, and it models it for the community of the world.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's so important. You bring up a great point. There are so many different people, politics, different opinions, different thoughts, different ideas. Let's all come together for the common good and help each other.
Help feed each other.
Yes. So important. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yes, yeah, very, very, very important. And you do see that in the lunch break community that, people who you might not think would be paired together, or people you might not think would be working together. And yet there we are, side by side, shoulder to shoulder, because again, at that, the heartbeat of lunch break is that every human being has value, dignity, and worth, and can make a meaningful contribution. And that's just it. That goes across the board, and it transcends politics. It transcends race and ethnicity, and it comes down to the heart of humanity and what it means to be a human being.
Dr. Penn, before we let you go, what else do you want to get out there about what Lunch Break does for the community and how people can get involved, all the different services that you offer, and how people can seek out services as well?
Yeah, so if you're in need of services, same thing. If you go to our website, you can certainly also, reach us by phone, and you listen to the menu on the phone, and press the number that applies to you. And again, understand that if you are in need of services, you're elevated. You're treated as a guest. You're not treated as a person who needs a handout. You're treated as a person who is, again, coming into that lunch break community to make a contribution. I learn from everybody, whether you're a board member or you're a guest coming for a meal, because why? You have dignity, worth, and value, and something to contribute. So, you get to come in there with your head up and your shoulders back, and you are treated for the valuable person that you are.
Beautifully said,
Can I
Dr.
just say
Penn.
something? You are awesome, and I really, really enjoyed
She
this
is.
conversation.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. This has been a delight, an honor, and a pleasure for me to be a guest on your show. And thank you for doing what you're doing and bringing a positive word and outlook into the community.
Yeah, we appreciate that, Dr. Penn, and would love to have you and anybody from Lunch Break on again at some point in the future to discuss all the great work you've done and all the great work you're continuing to do. So please keep doing what you're doing for the Red Bank and Monmouth County community, and hopefully you can continue to grow that volunteer and donation base as well.
Thank you so very much.
That is Dr. Carol Penn, board member with the Red Bank-based nonprofit Lunch Break. You can go to lunchbreak.org for more information, to seek out services, to volunteer, to learn more about Lunch Break, and then share it with your family and friends as well. More Short Time with Vin and Dave right after this on 94.3 The Point.
Hey, this is Frankie Pantangeli. You should be listening to Vin and Dave on 94.3 The Point. Yes! Oh!
Whether you're in the early stages of investing, getting ready to retire, or planning your estate, you need a financial planner who will guide you on a clear path with honesty and transparency. Shoreline Wealth Management provides clarity through the complexity with offices in Manchester and Manahawkin. Shoreline Wealth Management is your financial anchor. Visit shorelinewealth.com for more information and start your financial journey with comfort and security today. Shorelinewealth.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC.
Hi, this is high performance executive coach Dana Cavalier and former director of strength and conditioning for the New York Yankees. And you're listening to Short Time with Vin and Dave on 94.3 The Point. It's always great to hang with champions, and these two guys are champions.